going on, everybody? Monday means it's Q&A day from me to you. This is the day where I pose a question to the whole midlife community and see what you all think. Now, remember, there's never a right or wrong answer with these questions. There are a wide variety of ways that somebody could answer a question like these and have a very logical, meaningful explanation and opinion. And that's the part that makes it so much fun. So in last week's question that I posed to all of you, I asked, hey guys, if you had $1,000 to walk into the National with, and the National was right now, how would you spend it? And see, the beauty of the National, or any massive show like the National, is just about anything you can think of will be there. There will be turn of the century cards, pre-war cards, 50s, 60s, 40s, 70s, junk wax, modern, ultra modern. There will be memorabilia, there will be autographs, there will be tickets, there will be jerseys, anything that you could think of. So it's literally walking in where anything you've ever imagined will be in the room. How would you spend $1,000? And the variety of responses that you all provided to me this week, it literally couldn't be more drastically different how everybody responded. And it was so much fun going through all those questions and seeing what you all had to say. Yesterday, I posted a video which was super fun, and I'm going to continue doing this, where for the last few months, I've been sharing with all of you my favorite pickups of the month. I show you the cards that I bought. I talk about how much I bought them for, where I got them. And so I turned that around and I asked all of you from November, what were your favorite pickups of the month? And I had a ton of responses, and you all bought some awesome cards. I will be doing that for the month of December as well. So keep that in mind as we move forward, because as we get to the end of the month, I will post a comment out there about how to submit your pickup from the month and what sort of information to include when you submit it to me to be used in the video for the community show and tell for the month of November. But for right now, let's go ahead and take a look at how you all responded to my question from this past week about how you would spend $1,000 at the National if it were held today. If I had $1,000 to spend at the National, I'd walk in with this list. 1965 Topps Steve Carlton rookie card PSA 6, $250. 1966 Topps Don Sutton rookie card PSA 6, $150. 1971 Topps Burt Blyleven rookie card PSA 7, $225. 1964 Topps Phil Niekro rookie card PSA 6, $175. 1962 Topps Gaylord Perry rookie card PSA 6, $150. And 1987 Topps Traded Tiffany Greg Maddux rookie card PSA 9, $50. If all else fails, a 1959 Topps Bob Gibson PSA 5 and a pretzel. All right, there are so many things about this response that I like. Like, so many things. Number one, it's clearly looking at some value cards. Like, if I were to make a list of some of the most undervalued, underappreciated cards, these would be many of those cards. They're also pitchers, which I think are severely undervalued. See, for me, when I look at championship type teams, I'm thinking you've got to have dominating pitching. And if you look over the course of the last 80 years of baseball, generally speaking, the teams that were dominant for a period of time and won multiple championships had dominating pitching staffs. So I totally understand why someone would value pitching and value cards of pitchers. And some of the most undervalued, underappreciated pitchers of the last 45 years are these guys, right? I mean, we're talking about Don Sutton, and we're talking about, even more than 45 years, I guess, right? 65 years. Gaylord Perry and Steve Carlton and some of these all-time great pitchers. And even like a Burt Blyleven, and you go, the Burt Blyleven is from a brutal 1971 set. And in a 7, it's still so affordable. So I love the value play here of going for the undervalued cards. The other thing I like about this particular answer is the comps. I mean, like, we really should do a lot of our research before we're going into a big show when we know everything we can think of is going to be in the room. Now, if you're going to your local card show, at your local card show, you don't really know what's going to be there. So doing like research beforehand is probably not super valuable because you don't know what cards will be there. But when you go to a show like the National, and everything that you can imagine will be there in virtually every grade you could imagine, doing research ahead of time, looking at the comps, what does a centered one in a certain grade go for? What does a uncentered one in a certain grade go for? What does an undergraded one go for? What does an overgraded one go for? Because remember, grades are just a guide. At least they're just a guide for me. So when we say a PSA 6, I'm thinking a PSA 6 that looks like a PSA 6, not a PSA 6 that looks like a 4 or a PSA 6 that looks like an 8, because those things also exist. But I love the comping. I love the price range. I love the very specific list of the things that you're interested in before you get to the show. That way, you're dialed in and you know exactly what you're looking for and exactly what the price should be going for of that card. If I had $1,000 to spend at the National, the card I would target is a signed Ted Williams card. If I could find one at that price. Williams was a war hero in addition to being one of the greatest hitters of all time. Have to wonder what his final stats would have been if he didn't lose those years in his prime to his military service. Oh man, so several things again I like about this answer. Now, a lot of you respond. And I probably had 35 responses and I had 35 great responses. So when I'm doing my review of your responses, I'm picking the ones that stand out to me for a particular reason. And generally it's because there's a topic related to what is mentioned in that particular comment that I think is worthy of talking about. And I love Ted Williams. I've mentioned how I met Ted Williams, how I got a ball signed by Ted Williams when I was in 6th grade. Like, I'm a big Ted Williams guy. But it's not the fact that I like Ted Williams that I wanted to talk about this particular answer. Something that has been growing in popularity are rookie cards that have been autographed by the player. That, it seems like, over the last couple of years has become a growing demand, a growing trend. And when we look at guys like Steve Carlton, or we look at guys like Jerry West, or we look at guys like Ozzie Smith, where the players are still living, a lot of those cards have been getting signed recently. The pop count of a Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, or Isaiah Thomas, or a Don Mattingly, the pop count of their rookie cards that have been signed is it's skyrocketing right now because of this growing trend. And it doesn't even have to be a rookie card that's signed, just a playing day card of a player who is an all-time great, a Hall of Famer, signed by the player. It has gone through the roof, which I think is cool. I mean, if I were to go right now online and look up a 1961 Topps Juan Marichal rookie card, there would be 20 of them that are autographed, maybe more. because people are cashing in on this trend, and Juan Marichal still alive, and he's still signing autographs. So that is an interesting topic, because when we look at a guy like Ted Williams, there aren't a ton of Ted Williams cards that have been signed. And one of the reasons there aren't a ton of Ted Williams cards that have been signed is because it was faux pas for a long time to get baseball cards signed by the player, right? I mean, for years, I went to tons of card shows in the 80s and early 90s, and there were a ton of guys signing autographs. I mean, I've talked about how my Ted Williams autograph on a ball cost $39. I remember it to this day. Mickey Mantle, I got a year before at the same show, and I'm pretty sure it was $25. That's what they used to cost, but nobody got them signed on cards. Everybody did photos, and everybody did balls. So there are a lot of Mickey Mantle signed balls. There are a lot of Mickey Mantle signed photos, but there aren't a ton of Mickey Mantle signed cards, because again, the belief was that you were ruining the card. It was like cards are for cards and autographs are for other things. So when you talk about a guy like Ted Williams, who died before that trend really kicked into gear, there's obviously a low supply of autographed playing day cards from Ted Williams. So if we're talking about a guy who, is still alive and still signing, I think the value of those autographed rookie cards and those autographed playing day cards are going to be far more heavily in supply than a Mickey Mantle or a Ted Williams. Because of that, I really think if you're going to jump on the bandwagon of guys' cards, plain day cards that have been signed, you really need to think about the guys who have been gone for at least the last 5 years, since at least, I'd say 2015 and before. Because it was really kind of after that. It was when all of those inserts started showing up with autographs that people said, oh yeah, getting cards autographed is pretty cool. I wish I had some cards that were autographed. Think about that as you're moving forward and you're collecting. Think about the guys that are still living and signing. There's only going to be more and more and more of their cards autographed hitting the market. But the guys who've been gone for several years, if you can find a Carl Hubble card that's autographed, there are very few of those because people just weren't doing that. Hey Greg, tough question because my Grail card changes by the minute. Seriously. At this exact moment, I would spend the $1,000 on a PSA 2 1934 Gaudy Lefty Grove and a PSA 3 1954 Topps Jackie. Another similar response. As for this week's question, based on my mood today, because my answer always depends on the day you ask, I would use the $1,000 to try and grab a low-grade 1933 Gaudy Jim Thorpe. The card is amazing looking, and Jim Thorpe is an American hero. I've seen 1s and 1.5s go for right around $1,000, so hopefully I could find one in my price range. Okay, so two questions that had a similar theme that I think are worthy of us talking about. Here's the deal. Anybody who's a golfer, and you're saying, what? What is this guy talking about? We're talking about golfers? We're talking about sports cards. Bear with me. Anybody who's a golfer, you'll never be done improving. There's no such thing as perfect. There's no golfer, even the best times of Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus, there's never been a golfer who was done practicing and improving. It can always get better. You can always improve in an area. There's never been a perfect round of golf. There's been something that wasn't perfect somewhere during the round. That's the same thing with our collections. Our collections are never done. We never go, all right, that's it. I got all the cards I wanted. No one, no collector, no true serious collector will ever say, okay, I'm officially done with my collection. That's just not how it works. We want to continue to improve our collections. And one of the things when I say that we're wanting to continue to improve is we're not just wanting to improve the quality of the cards and the quantity of the cards and which cards, but we're always thinking about where our preferences are, right? There are times in your life that maybe you're a little bit of a bigger, Pirates fan than Steelers fan. And then you go a couple of years that you're really into the Steelers and less into the Pirates. There are times that, there's a certain TV show that you're all in on. You love The Sopranos. Like The Sopranos is the show. And then you get into a different show like The Wire. And you're like, no, The Wire is my favorite show now. Like our preferences are always changing. They're always changing. And that's okay. It's okay that our preferences change. It's okay that our interests change. So one of the things that I wanted to mention is I love how both of these comments admit that their preferences change by the day or the minute or the month or the week. And that's okay, because what we can't do is go, well, I've always been a mantle collector, so, I guess I should just stick with mantle. No. If you decide that you're going to pivot for a while and you're going to go to pre-war, that is totally acceptable. It's totally okay to pivot your interests. If you were into sharp corners for a long time and the thing that mattered most is the card was pack fresh, you didn't worry about printer marks. You didn't worry about centering. You just wanted a pack fresh card. That's the look you wanted. And now you said, you know what? Pack fresh cards were cool for a while, but right now I'm really into centering. And the corners are less important. The color is a little bit less important. The registration's a little bit less important. My focus now is centering. That's okay. It's okay to change. And you can take what you've been collecting and you can liquidate it because there's someone else out there that appreciates it a ton, and you can move into that direction of the thing that you now prefer. Don't get stuck in a rut where you think, oh, well, I guess this has always been my thing. I've always been just into baseball cards, so I'm not going to now start to head over and look at football cards because baseball cards are kind of my area and football cards are for other people. Okay? That's not what we should be doing. What we should be doing is enjoying the journey. It's like a cross-country drive, and you have your map laid out. Map. What am I, old? Map. We don't use maps. You have your route laid out, and you say, you know what? We're not that far from the Grand Canyon on this route. I'm going to take a detour and check out the Grand Canyon for a while. That's cool. That's okay. It's okay to take a detour. It's okay to change your route in your card collecting. Don't be afraid to change your route. At the National, single cards are usually overpriced. So I would spend my $1,000 on something different. Something like an autographed ticket or an unusual throwback autographed jersey or a piece of memorabilia that might be particularly meaningful to me. Perhaps a graded pack from the early 70s when I started collecting. I would search for oddball items that I'd be proud to add to my collection and are particularly meaningful to me. Another response says, I would do basically what I did last year. Walk around the floor and look for deals on items I collect. Nothing mainstream, mostly oddball. Test and proof issues. Last year was great for that. I have found some great Jackie Robinson cards at good prices with team issue photos, exhibits, postcards, and stamps. So, again, two comments that I think both touched on something that's really important. Now, pretty much every card show I'm going to go to, I will be able to find a 1984 Topps Don Mattingly card. Pretty much every card show I go to, I'll be able to see a 1986 Topps Jerry Rice rookie card. Most shows that I go to, I'm going to run into a 1960 Topps Mickey Mantle. I'm probably going to see a 1968 Topps Nolan Ryan. I'm probably going to see those cards at every show I ever go to. I'm certainly going to see Brock Purdy Prism cards. I'm certainly going to see, Ja Morant Prism cards. But there are some shows, big regional shows, the National, that are going to have things that you're just not going to see anywhere else. Whether they be oddball cards, whatever that even means. What is oddball card? Whether they be the non-mainstream Topps or Bowman or Fleer type cards. Maybe it's, ticket stubs. Maybe it's autographs. Maybe it's memorabilia. Maybe it's game-used jerseys. Those things you're not going to see very often. Maybe it's turn-of-the-century cards. Maybe it's some pre-war cards. When you go to a big show, and I've been to some big shows because, in San Francisco used to be one of the hubs for some of the biggest shows. And for 2 decades, my dad and I went to all of them. And even when I was, in college and I started having kids, I would go to some of those big shows with my dad in the Bay Area. And the thing about those shows was you always saw things you'd never seen before. I've seen multiple Honus Wagner T206s. I've seen tons of 52 Mantles, which is not even that crazy rare of a card. I've seen lots of 86 Jordan rookie cards in 10 holders. I've seen that stuff at these big shows, but when I go to my local show, I don't see a lot of that stuff, right? So, and there was a stream, a podcast, conversation just the other day, and it was on For Collectors for Collectors, the channel. If you're not a subscriber, I encourage you to check it out. And they have, 4 different guys, and they all do kind of collaborative things and then their own things, and it's a cool channel. And Sammy Thunder, who's a great guy, I love Sammy. Sammy did a conversation, and he had on John Mangini from the Mangini collection, and he had on Orlando from a collector's stream. 2 really knowledgeable guys who are really into collecting super rare stuff. And it was about an hour-long conversation, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I'll put a link to it down below in the description. It was a fabulous listen. And I loved the passion from Orlando, and I loved the passion from John Mangini. And the thing that they kept saying over and over was, you're going to keep seeing 55 Al Kalines. You're going to keep seeing 58 Roberto Clementes. You're going to keep seeing, 61 Bob Gibsons. But you know what you're not going to see very often? Is this card where there are only 20 of them graded ever. And when you see those cards, if you want them, you kind of just got to buy them because you may never see them again. And it's such great advice. And they had a whole hour-long, 45-minute long conversation about that exact topic. If you're going to a show like the National, I don't think, personally, that's necessarily the time to buy your 1965 Topps Ernie Banks. It might be the time to buy that piece of memorabilia, that ticket stub, that super rare short print card that never is available. Now, when I go to the National, what am I going to buy? I will be looking for everything, which is the problem. But will I look for that 54 Ernie Banks that I want? Yes. Will I be looking for the 48 Yogi Berra that I want? Yes. Will I possibly buy a 1956 Roberto Clemente? Possibly. But my immediate focus is going to be just looking. And then I know I'm going to see something that I did not expect to see. And it might be my only chance to buy that. There's a card that I'm watching right now on eBay that there are not very many of. And the auction ends really soon. And I really want to get it. And I'm bidding well above comps to make sure that I get it. And I still don't know if I'm going to get it. But when sometimes those things show up, you just got to get them. And at a show like the National, those things will be there. Those things will be there. And some of the things that will also be there are the same things that will be at your next local show. So something to consider if you are going to the National or the Dallas Card Show or the Chantilly Show or the Burbank Card Show, whatever the big show is that you're going to be going to, is don't just look for the stuff that's at every show. Look for the stuff that you may never see again, because it might be your only opportunity to buy it. My $1,000 would go toward a decent 1955 Topps All-American Jim Thorpe. Almost bought one at last year's National, but couldn't quite find the right card cost combo to suit me. With what I had left, I'd target 1990s Griffey inserts and pre-war track and field cards. This could end up being my exact plan if I make the trip all the way to Cleveland this coming year. All right. Great response. Great statement. And some of you are saying, well, why did he pick this one? Why did he choose? The thing that I think that we do is we tend to label ourselves. I'm a vintage collector. I'm an ultra modern collector. I'm a modern collector. I'm a set builder. I'm a Hall of Fame collector. I'm a Willie Mays collector. I'm an oddball collector. There are so many different categories. And I think what a lot of us do is we put ourselves into one of those categories and then we kind of stay in that category. And it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be you're just a rare card collector or an oddball collector or a ticket stub collector. You can be in multiple categories. Remember those Venn diagram things where it's like a circle here and a circle here, and then there's like an overlap, and that's like you're either just this, or some of each. You know what I'm talking about. You don't have to be just in one circle. You can be in multiple circles at the same time, and that's okay. And that's what I love about this answer. It's like, well, I'd buy a 1955 Topps All-American Jim Thorpe. And then once I've bought that, then I'm going to go look for some Ken Griffey Jr. insert cards. And I'm going to look for some pre-war track and field cards. I mean, if those three categories could be any more different, I don't know how they could be any more different than that. And to me, that's awesome. It's awesome. Don't limit yourself. Don't feel like you're just a 1960s collector or a 1950s collector or a Hall of Fame collector or a Baltimore Orioles collector. You can be a collector of many different things. At the last card show I was at, I just posted the video, a little over, I don't know, when did I post that video? Like 4 or 5 days ago? I bought a bunch of autographed Perez Steel stuff, autographed goal line stuff. I bought an autographed Topps Chrome of Orlando Cepeda. I bought some late 1970s autographs. No, I didn't. I bought some late 1970s rookie cards. What am I saying? And it's like, it's okay to be in different categories at the same time. Stop limiting yourself. Expand your horizons. Expand your horizons to a category beyond where you currently are. And with that, brings me to my question for this week. My question for this week is, as we wrap up 2023 and head into 2024, what is a category? What is a category that you're going to start to look into more, that you're going to start participating in more, that you're going to start collecting more in 2024? Maybe you've been a San Francisco Giants collector, and now you're also going to start collecting Hank Aaron's. Maybe you've been a pre-war collector, and now you're going to buy some 50s and 60s cards. Maybe you've been mostly a baseball card collector, and in 2024, you're going to start collecting some vintage football as well. Maybe you've been a mostly modern collector, and you're going to start collecting more vintage stuff. I really encourage everybody to not limit yourself. There are certain tables at card shows that vintage collectors simply walk right by. And there are certain tables at card shows that modern collectors simply walk right by, or football collectors walk right by, or baseball collectors walk right by. I encourage you to stop at every table. I encourage you to check out everything. And my question is, in 2024, what is the new category or the new area that you're going to start looking at more and possibly start participating in? Let me know in the comments below. I genuinely look forward to seeing what you all have to say. But I really think that the New Year's resolution for a lot of us collectors should be, get out of the rut of the same old thing we've been doing and consider something different. What's the different thing that you're going to try in 2024?